Hi my lovelies, I'm Jen and this is Crifty Crafty.
Hi my lovelies, I hope you're all well. So today we're going to make a insert using cards. We're going to use a photo frame insert. So very similar to when we did our glass block with the family tree, except this time we're going to use card and we're going to put it in a photo frame. So the first thing I want to do is grab a shape. So I'm just going to grab a square. And I'm just going to unlock it, and I want my width to be 11.69 and I want my height to be 8.27, which is the size of an A4 piece of card. So we're going to be using A4 size and our frame is A4 as well. So then I want to duplicate this. So I'll just bring that there, and then this bottom layer, I want to position it at 1 and 1. And then our second layer, we're going to change the width and the height. So I want to change the width to 10.69 and I want to change the height to 7.27. And then we're just going to position it at 1.5 and 1.5, and that then gives us a nice even border. So then I'm going to go in and highlight, and I'm just going to slice, and that will then give us our border area. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get my images that I want to use. Now, you can do it the way that I'm doing it, which is I'm going to weld my pieces in, or you could leave this as just a A4 piece of card, if you like, and then slice the images in. You can do it either way. It depends on the finished look that you want. But we're going to do it this way today, and I'll probably do a slice video as well at some point in the future. So we're going to go to images, and the first thing I want is a carriage, and for today I don't want to use Design Space ones. I know that I've already got a uploaded SVG with a carriage in, so I'm just going to type in Cinderella because I know that that's probably where the file will be. So you can see there the carriage. So we're just going to click that. Now, rather than inserting it, I've got other files that I want to pick up as well. So you'll see at the bottom here that our file is ready to insert. So rather than insert individually, I'm just going to go ahead and search for the next image. So I want some bunting, and again, I know that I've got a preloaded file. So I'm going to click that, and if you look down at the bottom here, we've now got our bunting. And those are the only two images that I'm not using, which will be Design Space. All the rest of the images in here are going to be Design Space. So I also want a horse. So we'll go and find a horse. And I really like this one here, so we're going to click on that. And then I want to go and find some kind of flourishes, so maybe some butterflies or some flowers. So I'm just going to search Design Space for those. So if you look down at the bottom here, you'll see we've got several images. So we're just going to insert those all in one go. I just find it's easier than doing it individually. So the first thing that I want to do is deal with our SVG. So if we go to our layers panel and we remove everything else, and you'll see that you can remove layers individually or you can remove them as one by clicking on the name of the layer. So we're going to do that. So that then leaves us with our horse and our SVG. So with our SVG, I'm going to ungroup it, and I want to only keep my carriage. So there's two ways to delete these. You can either delete them like this, or you can click each layer and delete it that way. So you can do it either way, whichever way works for you. So then we're just left with our layer. Now we've got our horse, so I'm just going to enlarge that, and you can see here we've got 2 layers. I only want the red layer, so I'm just going to click our cream layer and delete that. And the only thing I want to change about the horse is I don't like the pole running through it. So I'm just going to go to shapes and grab a square, and then I'm going to unlock that and just get a basic shape of what I want, and then I'm going to place it over, and then I'm just going to highlight and slice, and we can then remove the top of the pole just like that. And then if I grab this piece, I can do the same on the bottom. And there's our horse. So the only other thing I want to do to my horse is I want to flip it horizontally, so it's facing that way. Then I'm going to start adding in the rest of my layers. So this one I don't need to do anything to. We've got this one, I don't need to do anything to that at the minute, but I do want to reduce it down. This one I don't want, I only want the 2 top layers. So I'm just going to go in and delete the rest. I'm just going to use the layers to do this. I'm not even going to ungroup it. And then all I'm going to do is highlight and weld. And then we'll reduce that down. Now with this one, what I want to do is I'm going to delete the black layer, and I'm going to delete the pink layer, and that then leaves me with the red and the brown. So I'm then going to go in and I'm going to slice. So we're going to remove that, we're going to remove that, and if we move this over here, we can then get rid of this piece. And then all I want is the body. I'm only interested in this body bit, so I'm going to go to shapes, and I'm going to pick up let's do a circle. And we're just going to place our circle and go in and slice. So we can then remove that side, and we're going to do exactly the same for the other side. So then all we're going to do is we're going to add our wings back in place, and we're just going to highlight and weld. So they're now welded as one, and again I just want to reduce that a little bit. So then we're going to add the next piece. So this is our banner layer, and I'm going to ungroup it. I think we'll get rid of this piece and we'll keep the solid piece. So I'm just going to reduce that as well, just to make space more than anything. Then we've got our bunting. We don't need to do anything to that for a minute. And then we've got our frame. So the first thing that I want to do with our frame is I want to go in and place our horse and our carriage. So I'm just going to have a quick play with those. So I'm happy with that. So some of these butterflies I've added, I actually am not interested in the butterfly. I'm more interested in the flourish. So if we look at this one, make it a little bit longer. So if I unlock it and just stretch it out slightly, we're then able to move it how we want. So I want it right here on that loop. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to shapes, and I'm going to grab just a square will do. So about there, and again I'm just going to highlight and slice, and then we can get rid of the rest of these. I'm only interested in this piece here. So again, with this one, I want the swirls. So I'm just going to go to shapes and square. And had I actually thought about it when I was doing my layers, I wouldn't have welded them because these two were separate. But it doesn't really make any difference. And the whole thing about playing in Design Space is you change things, you look at the way of things, you add things, you take things away. So there's a lot of scope to play with things. So we're just going to delete that. So I'm going to pick this piece up. I'm just going to have a quick play about how I want it integrated to my frame and my carriage. So I'm happy with that. So the next thing is our banner. And again, I'm just going to have a quick play and how I want it to kind of be placed. So with my bunting, I want to separate these two pieces so that I can kind of play with them and I can shorten them or lengthen them. So I'm just going to go, again, just go in, grab a square. And I've just covered this piece. So I'm going to go in, highlight and slice. And then get rid of that. So our two pieces are now separated. So I'm just going to have a play about how I want them to go, but I'll probably duplicate this twice and duplicate this twice as well. So I've just gone back into images and I've picked up this butterfly, and I'm not really interested in the butterfly, it's the tail. So if we go to ungroup, you can then see that we can start moving, although I might keep the butterfly. I'm just going to keep that butterfly and I'm going to go in, I'm just going to get, let's do a square, and I'm just going to reduce it first of all. So all I'm going to do is highlight and slice, so then we can get rid of that. So now I'm just going to have a quick play and see how I want to attach it between my horse and my carriage. So at this point, I want to kind of see how it all looks. I'm just going to move that slightly. So all I'm going to do, and I just want to make that slightly bigger. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight and I'm just going to weld. And it has now welded all these pieces together. So then the next thing that I want to do is I want to add some writing into my scroll or whatever it is you want to call it. So I'm just going to go to text and I'm going to type my text in. So I've chosen my font, which is actually a Access font. So this is Brewery number 2. But I just want to make these a bit closer. Now you can go in and do the letter spacing, but it's then going to push this closer, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to go advanced and ungroup to letters, and then I'm just going to move that slightly in and do the same for the rest of the letters. So then all I'm going to do is highlight and weld. So then we can bring it back up. And then all I want to do is go in, highlight all, and this time I'm going to slice because I'm going to slice my words in. So then if I remove that, we've then sliced those in. So I'm just going to remove that. And then I just want something to kind of break this up, but I'm not sure what. So I'm just going to go into images and have a look. I couldn't really find an image that I wanted to put in there, so I've decided we're going to just do a heart shape. So I'm just going to reduce that down and then work out how I want it to kind of be. I'm just going to duplicate it and make sure that it's kind of the same on the other side. And all I'm going to do is do this side first. So I'm going to highlight and slice. Now you can weld several images at once, but you can only slice one at a time. So we're just going to slice that one, and then we'll go ahead and slice the other side. So the next thing I want to do is grab this butterfly, and I'm going to duplicate it, and one of them I'm just going to flip horizontally, and then I'm just going to come in and place them sort of just above the bunting. And again, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to weld. And I think that that is pretty much how I want the image to be. And okay, there's some pieces that I didn't use, but that's kind of the beauty of Design Space. You know, it's a real experiment, which is something that I like doing. And the more you come to grips with Design Space, the easier it is to kind of do things like this and just have a play, just enjoy it. So I just want to say that although I've deleted the layers, obviously these two layers are still in here. But as always, because they're the eyes crossed out, they won't cut. So I don't need to delete those. Just make sure that if you don't want pieces, then obviously either delete them or make sure that you've got the line going through the eye. So the next thing we're going to do is go to make it, and you'll see it's telling us that we need a 12 by 20 format, which is absolutely fine. So we're going to press OK. Now I just want to say that because we're using an A4 piece, if we were to place our A4 piece right up against our mat, then obviously we're going to lose pieces. So you've kind of got two options. You can either reduce the size of the piece that you're using, and then when it's physically cut out, you can maybe put a different backing behind it, or you can play with it slightly differently, or you can place it on the mat exactly where it needs to go. So I will actually just measure 1/2 inch either side with my measuring tape. It's slightly less than that actually, but I've actually got a template that I made a long time ago for placing card onto the mat, because obviously in Design Space it gives you that kind of recess either side, but you can make a template for it. So we're going to go to continue. So I'm going to do medium cardstock. Now it's telling me to load my fine point blade. I'm actually going to put my deep cut blade in just because it rotates on a better angle. Now it won't cut any deeper than my cut setting, but I am, as I say, going to put the deep cut blade in. So we're going to go ahead and cut that all out. So we've got our cut out card here. You can see that it's all ready to be removed from our mat. So what I like to do is actually like to turn my mat over, and then I start peeling back from my mat. I use my scraper as well to help me, and I just very, very gently start peeling my mat back whilst I'm scraping my paper off, and I just do it very slowly and very, very gently. So you can see I'm working from the front now, and all I'm doing is I'm just gently removing my paper, and as I'm pulling the mat back, I'm then pulling the card away as well. And I just find that this works better, and you're less likely to tear or curl the card if you do it this way as well. So now I'm just going to do the last bit with my hand, and any of these methods work. You can see that everything's coming off really easy. You just have to be gentle not to tear anything. So now we're going to go through and we're just going to start removing all our pieces. So I'm just Mod Podging now. So I've got some glitter card. So I've Mod Podged the whole of my insert, and I'm now going to go and place this on my glitter card. And I just think it'll look really lovely. It'll have a really lovely sparkle to it. So I'm just going to be really careful and make sure that I place it correctly so all my edges are lined up.
And now I'm just going to go through and really pat that down. I'm going to leave it to dry for about 20 minutes and then I can remove the excess card on the side. But I want to make sure that that's really well stuck. Stuck down really well. So here's our finished product and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It's really sparkly. I think it's really effective. There is so much that you can do with these and I just think that they make a really beautiful gift. I really like the design side of it. So I love going into Design Space or getting lots of images, getting some SVGs and just playing with them and taking parts from images and taking parts from files and just kind of putting them all together to create unique and beautiful inserts. You know, you can do weddings, you can do birthdays, you can do anniversaries, you can do Christmas. There's a whole host of things that you can do and I just think that they're beautiful and they make really, really lovely gifts as well. So as always, thank you all so much for watching me. Please do like, follow and leave any comments and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all next time. Please do subscribe, like and comment below. Bye!